conservation land parks in the town for years, just with volunteers, and it hasn't worked out too well. So the town was about to hire somebody, and they had actually posted the job and interviewed. The job was not filled, but then COVID hit, so it's not going to be now. So now we're back at the point of just as a committee trying to figure out what we should do in terms of trying to get volunteers, working with Steve Sobel, the new town environmental planner, and just figuring out where to focus on it. And we've had, Michael has come to a couple of our meetings, Michael Dutton, and he suggested that given that you are Parks and Recreation and Open Space is looking at parks, that it would be good just to touch base with you and find out like where we overlap. Right now, we of course don't overlap anywhere because we haven't really done anything yet, but that's partly what we're looking for, some guidance or maybe some ideas about whether there's any parcels of property particularly that you have seen the need for some attention that maybe we could address that you haven't been able to. My impression is that your focus is largely recreation, active recreation, and that we would be looking more at areas for for passive recreation and parklands. But that's about it. That's about all I know. Maureen, I don't know if you want to add anything. I think you've been more involved with recreation in the past than I have.
I haven't been involved so much recreation, but parks. I'm a steward of one of the parks, so that's just the overlap I have, you know. So I think we're just trying to see how the open space and the parks got turned over to your commission, I believe, and to just see how, as Eileen said, how we're going to combine the two. If we are we going to? I look at it as kind of a Venn diagram. You know, there's us, and in the middle there's a whole lot of commonality, and what we want to do about that common part. And if you have any suggestions and comments about it, and go from there. We thought we should have.
I would.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I would defer to Charlie, who probably knows more about it. Charlie, don't give me that look. But from my understanding, we've never been given much guidance on anything for the parks other than, you know, Parks and Rec. Charlie?
Well, I can jump in if you want.
I want you to jump right in.
Okay. Over the last few years, or 2 or 3, I've had discussions with the town manager and regarding, you know, the hiring of an additional person, which I believe was going to be called the steward, park steward, so to speak. And that person was going to oversee the volunteers, dealing with us, coming to me for any equipment, which is, in a way, at the time, I said it was kind of a joke because we really don't have a lot of tools or equipment that we can use, but so be it. And the thought was to provide some monetary support to our budget, which is extremely low to begin with. And I explained that if they wanted us to get involved, it was going to need another person, at least another part-time person through the spring to fall, which I guess that was the idea with the park steward. And I said, if you're going to maintain these areas and there's going to be the need of daily trash pickup, that kind of thing, that we're going to need another person. So it was kind of thrown around and decided that that's really what was going to happen. And to my knowledge, nothing has been put in for, and I believe because of the coronavirus and all that, a lot of things that have been talked about last year did not come to fruition because of this. Some of the capital things that we have had in the, or trying to get through capital improvements through you know, the town, the finance director and everything, what we'd like to have was another vehicle to do that kind of pickup, you know, trash pickup and things like that. That's not in the budget. So a lot of that stuff got waylaid for the current budget. But in my own personal feeling on this is that if you want to have volunteers that are passionate about it, and I know some of you have been for years and get very frustrated when there's no activity from our end, so to speak, you have to have some attention paid to it on a daily basis. If you're going to have these packs available to people, people are going to leave trash. Not everyone brings it in and out. It's typical at playgrounds and even the ball fields. We have trash barrels, but they have to be attended to daily. So that all this was brought to the attention of the powers that be, because we're going to need a person or two part-timers to do that. And my thought was with the steward, we could work together and try to create something so that the volunteers of these different parks, you know, would feel that, you know, wanted. And I think that's a big thing when you have volunteers. If they do it for a couple of years, they're going to get beat down, they get tired, you know, and they're showing that nothing really is positive from the town's point of view. So that's kind of where it's fallen. I don't know. I've tried to hook up with Steve Soldo. I went in there this week, and because I actually had some work done down at Town Landing, had the highway guys come down and they mowed all the tall grass. And I've told them that we would help out down there, myself and one other guy, to clear that up down to the river. But he's out. They alternate in there. So next week, I believe he'll be in, and he'll take a ride around with me, and we'll have a discussion. But that's basically where we stand. We have no money in our budget. I have one part-time person and one full-time person. And that just came on this past year. So if we were to, you know, get involved, we're going to need some money, and we'll probably need a vehicle, and we'll probably need some equipment, which we can borrow from highway and things like that. But we have to start somewhere, and I'll have to meet with the environmental planner and see what's going on with that. Because I don't think it's not in the plans to hire a steward this year.
Right. Yeah, that's what I clearly understood. Steve Sobel has come to a couple of our meetings, and yeah, we pretty much said that once COVID hit, we're not going to get a steward. That's taken out of the budget. So.
Yep.
So we're kind of back where we were. Charlie, have you had any personal interaction with any of the stewards? Have they worked for you at all, or
No.
I don't know. No, okay.
No, I've not had any discussions with any of them whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
even know
on.
how many. I mean, Carver Pond is in excellent shape, but some of the other places. I know Steve Black, I understand, has been very involved in ironworks, and it looks, one of the things the Open Space Committee has been trying to do is do site visits at all the parklands, just kind of get a sense of what condition they're in, and what kind of signage or trail maintenance or whatever is. And so far we've gone to Stiles and Hart and Titicut, the Murray Farm. Is that it, Maureen? Am I missing? That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's three. Yeah. And
Where's the Town Landing come into play? Behind the
behind the studio? Is that the BTV studio?
yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, my understanding.
That's all.
Go
That's
ahead.
extremely overgrown. And
Yes, it is.
my site visit last week, because Kim Williams had asked me to get a cost of what it would take, get a price from somebody outside. And I told her that, I said, that's, in my opinion, that's not needed. Myself and my part-time guy could go down there, but I wanted to meet with Steve and visit the site so I don't get into any issues with conservation about what we can weed whack and things like that. But I visited the site, and And I'm confident that if you had a couple of volunteers that wanted to help out and you set up a time and you get down there, that could be handled in a day, to be quite honest with you. At least the cleaning out of it and opening it so you could actually walk that trail down to the river. If they
Now-
want to, I think she's looking to put a grant in to improve the whole site. So that she's in the process of doing that from what I understand.
Who's doing that?
Kim Williams.
Kim,
And I think through Jen and Steve, I think they're working in cahoots to put a grant in for something, whether that's just for that area or whether it's all combined. That I don't know of.
I'm sorry,
Charlie-
I don't know who Kim Williams is.
She's the assistant town manager.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, did they mention anything? I heard the other day, I thought I heard that there's plans, tentative plans to tear down the old highway barn and make a park area there.
Yeah, well, that's where this is. It would just be to increase parking down there.
Okay,
But there was an area, as you walk down to where the ramp goes down to the river, it was all overgrown, 3-4 feet high with weeds and grass. But that's all been cut down by the highway department. They came down with their flail mower. And when I talked to Jen the other day, she had mentioned that they were interested in putting some picnic tables there. And I think that's part of the grant that she was talking about. And
now when you're saying
That's
Jen, you
spring-
mean Jennifer Burke?
when I say that again, Gina?
When you say Jen, do you mean Jennifer Burke?
Yes.
Okay,
I
And
met
that's
with
Spring
her.
Street we're talking,
right.
right,
Yes,
Charlie? That's Spring Street, okay.
Yeah, the old highway barn down back there by Bridgewater TV.
I got you.
So that whole area that we cut down, the grass area, I thought it might be used for extra parking, but when I talked to Jen, I believe what they'd like to do there is, have, be able to have picnic tables there, along those lines. So they have some sort of a plan going on if they're thinking ahead of that. So whether they actually go for a grant for all the parks and put a plan together or just that area, I don't know. I didn't ask her that. I was just focusing on this one area because Kim had asked me to get a price for her if they wanted to put that, to clean up. So I told her we would be able to do the weed whacking and the trail trimming and get that all cleaned up. As far as anything else they want to do, that's probably what they're talking about.
I have a question about like the Ironworks Park. Are you who does the maintenance there? Do you know? Do you do it? Does the town?
No,
Steve does.
I have no idea. I don't even know if the highway department picks the trash up there or not. I don't know. I don't even know who picks the trash up at the Carver Street, at Carver's Pond.
Yeah, who's the volunteer there? I can't remember his name there, but I'm sure that they do it all as far
Well,
as.
I know they had barrels. I know they had barrels out there, but I don't know if the highway does it or not.
Mhm. At Ironworks, the lawn was mowed the last time I was there, maybe 6 weeks, a month or so ago, and it looked, looked fairly well maintained. So somebody's doing something there.
And I assume that's the highway department.
Okay, just because.
Especially 'cause they're right there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Charlie?
have plans for Friday to walk Stanley Ironworks, so I'll be sure to check it out, how, like trash and all that.
Yeah, my question about that when I went down for the site visit is whether, are people able to park in that parking lot next to it? There's no sign indicating that there's parking for Ironworks Park. There's that Club 34, is it? That
49 is
49, whatever, 49, okay, whatever it is.
34,
New hotspot
49,
in
they're
town.
close.
It was some number, that's all I remember. Didn't mean a thing to me, but There's that, and then there's the highway department, and there seems to be a fair amount of parking spaces, but none of them say that none of them are marked as parking for Ironworks Park. And there's no sign there pointing you into Ironworks Park. There's a sign right on High Street where a pedestrian would see it, but there's no sign from that parking lot.
Yeah.
Does anybody know whether any of that space is available legally, technically for the public visiting the park?
Well, when you first come in there, the bar is to the left.
Yeah,
And those parking spaces right there are technically for them.
right, that's what I wondered.
But there is plenty of room when you go further in towards the highway department. There's plenty of room there, even during the day.
Oh,
But
okay.
I don't know if they want signs put up, or I don't know the background on that.
Okay, yeah, I was curious about that. It was one of the things I wanted to ask Steve Black about, because I know he's been involved with that for years, but that's been one of the comments and all the public input that's been given on for the various park development and park plans and open space plans and master plans. The public comments all the time that they don't know where the parks are, that there's no signage indicating where they're located from the street. If you happen to know even Carver Pond, if you know it's there, you may find it, but if you don't, you can drive by for years and not notice if you don't stop and actually look in there. And so when I saw Ironworks, I thought, oh, well, that's certainly one of the considerations here. If you can very easily miss that little sign right on High Street on the sidewalk, and there's quite a lot of tree branches around it. And so you would never even know it's there. And so anyway, that's one issue that we've talked about, is what we might be able to do to improve access. Easy thing would probably be trying to get some kind of signage, some kind of uniform signage on the town park areas. And then a bigger issue is parking.
I might have, this is Mike Flaherty. I might have something to say on this. I own the building across from the entrance to the Ironworks, and I've let people park there on weekends, but I run a business where we're having heavy trucks going in and out of there. I've never refused anyone for parking there, but I also own half of the road going into the town barn where people can park on the right side there. But next year there's supposed to be a lot of construction taking place where the parking will be limited. They're going to remove the dam.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, weren't you gonna put parking meters there?
Oh, boy.
Mike,
No
like
one
I said,
appreciates a good joke.
I'm having fun with them. I'm just having fun with them.
Charlie,
All of a sudden, my phone went dead, Tom.
Mike, is that
Charlie?
a definite that the fish ladder's coming down?
What?
Is that a definite that the fish ladder's coming out?
Yes.
Okay,
It's in a dangerous thing, and it will just go back to being a brook that the fish will be able to transport themselves upstream, and they'll have no problem hatching.
okay,
It's been in the plans for about 4 years.
right,
Is
right.
it actually scheduled at this point? I mean, is it on the calendar?
I don't know, with coronavirus, I don't know.
Yeah. It seems like if that's
But it's
going to
gonna be
happen,
the-
then
it's
it
gonna
would
be
be a good time
that-
to try to figure out how to get some parking.
Well, I think you better hold off on the parking until after all the construction's done.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Along with that plan, if they're going to be doing a lot of construction, it sounds like that would be a good time to try to work in a plan to include some designated parking spaces.
Yeah, you just have to be careful. People's private land you can't park on unless they're flexible, like I've been for the last
Yes.
5 or 6 years. I let the people in the Lincoln Club park there as well during the weekends, as long as they don't as long as I don't have a hard time getting one of my trucks out.
Get those meters, Mike.
What was that?
There doesn't
What?
seem to be much public parking associated with the ironworks.
Yeah, Tittacut
That's all.
doesn't have, Tittacut only fits like 3 or 4 cars too.
And I would think that if we're going to take this seriously and open up some of these parks, that parking spaces would be a top priority.
Mhm.
Well, I know in the past, in the past 5 years, we've had discussions when we were doing the master plan and the recreational studies. That's all documented in there, what's needed at every one of those places.
Right.
So it's just a matter of funding it and, starting somewhere along the lines. I mean, this is nothing new. This has been going on for 10 years anyway, maybe even
And
more.
we didn't get a copy of that plan, Charlie.
We have it. We've had it. We've looked at it. This isn't new. This is-
those plans are, there's so many of them.
And the master plan probably has to be done again. It's been done every 7 years.
It's just being finalized now, isn't it, Carlton? Is Carlton still here? I think
I'm
they're
here, but we're not close to finalizing it.
not, oh,
If we're lucky, we'll get it done by December.
well, that's pretty close in
Well-
bureaucratic time.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
all
and
this,
there are grants out there too, because it was mentioned for Stiles and Hart when the town just bought that additional piece of land, that there are grants out there for some of the, like, making trails and things and improving trails. So the town could always, hopefully apply for grants for those things too.
yeah, they're aware of that. That was all discussed about that. It's just, having the people to do it. And I think that's what Jen Burke and Steve, I think that's basically what their job is to do. And I think that's in process, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think, all the open space committee can try to do, I think, is to, assist, push one place or another if we see some volunteer effort that's being directed one place, because sometimes it's, for instance, when we were out at taking the walk at Tittacut for our open space site visit, there was somebody out there with a front loader who was excavating a few more spaces. Then this was part of an Eagle Scout project. And he said, the man, I forget the man's name, he said he lives down the street and he's been very involved in helping with Tittacut for years, I think through the Scouts. And so they were actually going to end up, I think, with 2 or 3 more spaces, and they were going to be putting gravel down on it, and he had just cleared it that day. So there are some volunteer efforts that are going on, but it's just not clear who knows or who's directing any of this.
Yeah, any of that stuff is really has to go through their office. And I'll tell you why, because the highway department got reamed for cleaning up at the NIP, and the conservation commission was not very happy with them. I know that they had some discussions, and so that's why I went down to talk to Steve. Before I do any work or any weed whacking or trimming, I'm going to make sure that he comes down, takes a walk with me, and gets the okay to do what I want to do. Because, it's one thing to go in there and have good intentions, but it's another thing if you, are cutting down stuff that you're not supposed to. So I think the town is more aware of that than ever right now.
I've heard good things about the way the NIP was cleaned up.
Well, I think from their standpoint, it was very important. There was a lot of, I don't know how you want to call it, illicit activity going on up there. The police actually asked them to do it. They did clean it up, and I've heard the same thing. However, it still doesn't, you still have to go through conservation, according to what I was told.
Right. Now, Eileen and Maureen, is open space concentrating just on the parklands or any open space in town?
I think at this point we're trying to focus the site visits on the parklands, just because they have been the subject of so many plans. I was on the Natural Resources Trust of Bridgewater board 15 years ago when all those plans were developed and given to the town. And I mean, you know, those were done then, and then all of these parks have been, all these issues have been addressed, and all the other additional town planning efforts since then, leading up to the current master plan development. So it seems like that so much of that has been done that that's a good place to focus. I mean, there's, for instance, there was I don't have the list right in front of me, but at one of our meetings, I had compiled a list of all of the studies of the various parklands in town. And I think the most recent one was a 2017 parklands assessment that was done by a graduate student at BSU and presented for Michael's office. And it's a really excellent summary of what needs to be done at each one, and what ones are worth focusing on and what ones maybe not worth the trouble, like Wyman Meadows out on 104. He had mentioned it's just something that it's probably not very accessible. There's houses that have been built around it. It's probably not worth putting a lot of effort into. Stiles and Hart was one where he said there was such a massive amount of work that needed to be done that he didn't think it was probably a longer term project rather than trying to do something on a short term. But he identified a number of steps such as signage and parking and, you know, cleanup and things like that, trail maintenance that should be done on the other parks. So I think it makes sense to focus on those conservation lands just because so much work has been done to them, and they're beautiful properties and they're underutilized. Carver Pond is, I think, an exception. I think people are using that a lot. But it wasn't that way always, you know. 15 years ago, Carver Pond didn't look like it does now. I mean, there's been so much work down there. So, I mean, but honestly, Gina, we're trying to figure out what to focus on because
Right.
you know, it's this big and it's like an octopus, you know, as to how many people or who's involved where, and we were going to have money and now we don't. And so that's what we're trying to do, is figure out where can we be useful, what can we do that will help somewhere. I mean, and like Stiles and Hart, I know, right? Michael Dutton and Steve too both think that there's been money that's gone to Stiles and Hart recently with the acquisition. There's Steve and some other people are actually building a little bridge in there. When we did our site visit there, they're creating a little walkway to extend the path. So there's volunteer efforts. Steve Sobel was also planning a big event around Earth Day to get a lot of volunteers out there to really get a community focus and do the cleanup and get volunteers for all sorts of things. And of course that fell through. I mean, it was a casualty of COVID. I think he still hopes to do something like that because there's just kind of a lot of, I mean, I know Bill Wood seemed to be making a big deal about Stiles and Hart in some of his Facebook posts related to his election, you know, that he had done work on that and he wanted that to be a big, you know, big project. So it seems like there's some political will behind Stiles and Hart right now, as well as some money. So, but I don't know whether that means that's a good place for us to focus, or we should let the town work on that and we find something else that isn't going to get attention otherwise. So that's if any suggestions you have, that's what we're.
My thought is where the town has plans and they're kind of working on Stiles and Hart. My own personal thought is to start on the other parklands first and see what develops at Stiles and Hart.
Okay, thank you for that suggestion. Anyone else have any thoughts?
Yeah, the land on Auburn Street, is that
Auburn Street.
up
The
by
preserve, Jim?
Latola?
Yeah, way back. What did they
Oh,
call
the Great River Preserve?
Yeah,
Yeah. There's no town land there that I know of. I thought it's state and.
I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any town land there.
Okay.
Are you talking
Were they-
about-
Excuse me. Are you asking about Jenny Lynn? Jenny Leonard Park?
No, I
Okay.
was asking down by Peter Latola's house,
Auburn.
where they have the
Okay.
hiking trails and everything.
That's open.
That's
It's conservation
That's
land.
under state regulations, I think.
Right, state
People
and
have told us
wildlands,
in a trust with the state.
yeah, and wildlands trust. Yeah.
Mhm.
Where would you
No.
park for Styles and Hart?
My driveway.
Yeah, I think so. That's one of the issues.
All right, you can get in it by Spring Street if you cross the river. Is that the idea?
But you can't, how do you cross the river, Jim, unless you have a
Well,
boat?
I'm saying is
Yeah.
they talked. I said building a bridge. I didn't know exactly where the bridge was.
Yeah.
May I speak to that?
Yep.
I don't know, the town purchased 5 acres there to make it more accessible. So at some point, there's going to have to be funding to come together. You know that there's a curb cut almost up to High Street. There's a curb cut
Right.
Mhm.
owned by the town now.
Mhm.
Okay.
The town bought it with the purpose of having it become accessible and a little bit of parking area. That planning has not gone anywhere as far as I know. That's where Styles and Hunt's at.
And I think that's where you can drive in too. Eileen and Maureen, where did you park for that?
Oh, over the Portuguese,
Portuguese Club.
Oh, okay, and walked up.
walk across.
Okay. I think you can go into, I've never driven in it, but I think where that curb cut is, you can drive in and there's a little area.
Yeah, I think there was room for one car. Maybe,
Yeah, you can drive up to it, but there's a big mound.
You need a four-wheeler.
Okay.
Eventually, there should be, you might be able to drive down the road there, because there is a road.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's any usable parking once you get in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my neighborhood. So if I go up that way, I just walk from my house. Right.
So let me ask, I'm trying to get a better sense of parks and recreation sort of jurisdiction. So are there particular properties that you manage, are responsible for?
Yes.
Okay, and is it the Legion Field,
Legion Field, the fields by the police station on Crescent Street,
Yeah,
which are primarily girls softball, as well as the playground, Marathon Park.
so you are responsible for the park as well,
Yes.
the Marathon Park, okay. All right.
Unfortunately, that's an issue as we speak, because I have no money in my budget. We pick up trash there. I don't go on Facebook. I don't go on any of that stuff, but I know we get literally trashed all the time about some equipment that's in disrepair, but I cannot touch that equipment. That's under warranty. And I had a meeting, not to get too long into it, but I had a meeting with a representative from the Oliari Foundation who paid and installed that whole thing, and a representative from a playground equipment company that gave us basically back an estimate of about 75 to 80 grand to take out the very first section. When you go in, the little kids section on the right is in disrepair. That has to come out, as well as a couple other things, and as well as paving an area right in the very front with disabilities, so we have wheelchair access to the park. So that'll be in discussion in the next month or so. But that's one area that we have to take care of. The other one is Scotland Field. We take care of that area also. And the golf course falls under our jurisdiction.
Charlie?
Yeah.
Charlie, can you state how much exactly the budget for the Recreation Commission is?
Well, other than my salary, there is only one line item in there, and that is part-time help of $9,600. My full-time person salary is paid out of the revolving account.
Right, it's not in the budget. It's all money.
That is correct, and we use the money that we take in for revenues. However, we're probably going to be down 50 grand this year in revenues because of the lack of Little League, girls softball. We will get some money in for men's softball and some of these other groups that are using the fields right now. But I don't anticipate youth football playing. I know girls softball canceled their whole season, as did Little League, although they came up with this thing. They might go in the fall if there's no football. We might get some revenue, but the town will have to absorb that. They know that.
But what does the town actually budget for recreation?
Well, my salary plus the 9,600.
Okay. So we have no supplies, nothing, just $9,600.
Yeah, which is pretty pitiful for the town.
Well, because the person working for you makes more than 9,600 part-time.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's
we
embarrassing.
start the year at a deficit is what I'm trying to say. It isn't just enough to say recreation, we don't have the money. It sounds like we're using it for other things, and that isn't the case.
So,
Is what I'm trying to say is,
Charlie.
Yeah, and they're well aware. You know, the town manager, the finance director, they're well aware of all this. I bring it up every year.
Right.
And you know we were planning on getting some money in capital for different things, and they have. We've gotten money from CPC to do some projects. So I mean, that's our funding source. We either get it through capital, and capital, I don't even know if it was approved, but I don't think anything on our list was in there for this year.
And I have another question about what your role is. I mean, okay, so you take care of those properties. Are you responsible also for organizing the sports there? Or is that?
No,
No.
each league, I deal with the, if you want to call them the boards of youth football. Usually each one of those have a spokesperson that I deal with. As far as usage of the fields, they do all the scheduling. I might have a meeting with each one. Youth football, they have a field where they use. They practice down here also when they have it. I don't think they'll have it this year, but all the scheduling of games and things like that, they do themselves. And if there's any issues or conflicts that need my attention, but I've been doing this for so long that I have no issues with any of those groups and that use the property. So it works pretty well. But no, I don't do any of the scheduling. I maintain the property. If they have an issue with, let's say something that's a capital issue like fencing and things like that, they have to come to me. They don't do anything physically on the field. If they want to do something, they'll come to me, and we'll see. Like a couple of years ago, we got money for the new lights for both Little League fields. That came from community preservation. We did this year. We finished a project of fencing. Those are capital expenses that these groups, or they use the fields. They can't afford that kind of stuff. They have been buying their own certain things that we used to pay for, but they work really well with me. If they need infield mix, they might buy a load. Things like that. So they know where we stand. One of the issues is through the revolving account, we generate our revenue from what's called a user fee. And anybody that plays youth softball, youth baseball, youth football, pays us a fee of $35 per child. The groups collect it, and then they pay me. And if there are any kids that are on that list that can't afford it, they make that known. It's usually about 20. I'd say from Little League and girls softball, they just pay the $35, and that goes into the revolving account, basically to pay my full-time person's salary, as well as some expenses. We still have to pay him. I pay him out of that account, and at the end of the year, that usually has to be subsidized.
Okay, thank you.
I was on the open space for 3 years, and Kitty Doherty, we worked with her for years, and we try to give as much help as we can. Try to get people to help her out, volunteer and all that stuff, and that's about all we can do as far as.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we had a ton of money, because I think open space or any kind of recreation is more needed now. The national parks and everything are getting overrun, and they're trashing the places with so you can see it coming. People want to get outside and go do something, so it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
Well, I really thought that this year was going to be a year, back in the wintertime when we discussed some things, I thought this was going to be the year that might have got some attention, from both financially and with support from the town manager's office. I mean, but the way things are right now, they're very cautious about spending any kind of money. So,
Yep.
Which I understand, but that's the way it is right now. But I from the jive, or from the vibe, I should say, that I've gotten from Jennifer and without having spoken to Steve, but I think it's going in the right direction. So I'm hoping to see something like that. We'll give any help we can towards that.
All right, Maureen, do you have any thoughts, any other questions for?
I don't know. I think it's something we're gonna have to start. No.
Any other
It's open spaces.
suggestions from anyone else on the Parks and Rec group?
I'd like to thank you, just for including us into the conversation. It's a scary time because, no one knows your budgets next year coming up are going to be cut drastically. So, and recreations already doesn't have really a budget. So these are great ideas, and hopefully we can work with volunteers and get things done for labor. But the other resources for financial, we're strapped, and I really think the town's going to be extremely strapped for 2021.
Who is chair of this committee? Your Parks and, is it Brooke?
Mike Flaherty.
Mike Flaherty, okay, all right. Mike, if you could you send me, or just, I would like at least be able to exchange emails. If I have your email, if you could have mine, so that if we think of other ideas to share.
Sure.
Yeah, Brooke, you could probably get that to her, correct? Everybody's email and phone number?
Yeah, I can. I don't have, my only way of communicating with open space has been through Maureen's cell phone. I don't have any contact information for any of open space.
Okay.
Well, that'll be a start.
Okay. Well, let me send. So how can I send it to you, Brooke?
Okay, it's B for Brooke, Condon, C-O-N as in Nancy, D as in David, O-N as in Nancy, at bridgewaterma.org.
Okay.
And I'll see that all the commissioners get that.
Okay. Yeah, and I wanted to get the names of our committee members up on the town website, but I was told that the whole website's being redone anyway, so they weren't doing any minor updates. They're just redesigning the whole thing. So I don't know how far along that is, but
Okay.
names up there sometime. Okay. All right.
All right, guys, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Good luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Are we continuing?
What, are we having a meeting?
Yeah, and I
We're
see you during
there to discuss our budget.
Hey, listen, I got to tell you, you have to take a look at Legion Field today. Right now, almost 45 minutes ago, it was jammed. The basketball courts were 10, 20. There were two teams on each court playing, and it looked like 10 kids waiting to play to get into the courts. And then the fields are all crowded, people playing, people in the stands. It looked like it doesn't look like there's a virus going on.
Are they socially distanced playing basketball?
What do you think?
No, I'll say
They're
this.
playing
That's like
defense
Charlie
just like
playing.
Tommy used to play.
Oh, they're distancing then.
Yeah, they're playing
Yeah.
Tommy Arrighi type defense, 8 feet apart
Yeah,
from the guy
Charlie.
he's covering.
Charlie, hey Charlie, you just beat me too. Except it's Charlie Simon's defense.
No, I'm down here now actually, and there's a little league game going on, and there's no kids in the dugout. They're all outside. What they do is they designate a pole along the fence, and that's where a kid's supposed to go. So I've been out here for a half hour, and they do follow it pretty much. Now, there was on the Big Diamond, there was a game going on. They do the same, but they're not supposed to be in the dugouts. So they seem to be following that. Basketball courts, whole
Hey,
different ballgame.
can I,
How did
Okay,
Tommy
can
grab
I
my
just
shirt
interrupt
from
for a
8 feet
second?
away?
Brooke, did,
Well, your
Good
quickness,
defense.
Jimmy, when you were blowing right
yeah,
by him,
Brooke, did you,
that's when he grabbed it.
But he was 8 feet away.
hey, Brooke,
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gina? Okay, I'm here.
did you remove Carlton? Did you remove Carlton Hunt? He just sent me a message that you removed him.
I did.
Okay, you can't, they have to remove themselves. We don't remove people.
It's a
Oh,
public
how do I
meeting.
get him back?
I'll
Anybody
just
know?
write it-
What do you? The meeting's
I'll just
over.
tell him, I'll just
Get him
tell him
off.
to rejoin.
No, I got a question.
I'll tell him it was a mistake and he can rejoin.
No,
Yeah.
if he rejoins, I'm hanging up.
Charlie,
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
all hang
This
up.
is being recorded, everybody, just so you know.
Yeah,
pickleball.
Pickleball.
What's
Oh,
being?
Charlie
Hang
left.
on. What's being recorded?
This meeting.
Who's recording it?
I am.
It's a public
the
meeting.
They have to be recorded, Tommy.
Oh no, jeez.
Okay, I just wrote to Carlton and told him it was an error and asked
Hey,
him
why
to
do you think
rejoin.
Mike's been so quiet?
Is he
No
coming
one
back?
told me.
Gina?
I just
Mike's
wrote
not-
to him,
Mike's
said
not
it was
even
an
here.
error. I wrote and said it was
Mike
an
hasn't
error.
been here in years.
Okay, you guys, I just wrote and said it was an error. Please rejoin.
Okay.
All right, I'm staying on.
Okay, please stay on.
Yes.
Okay.
And Mike, you're still on, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but I'm silent like I always am.
That's good. You stay out of trouble for the,
That's because you know it was recorded.
yeah,
I didn't.
Did you? I didn't either.
yeah. No, the town
It
says
didn't
you have
matter.
to
No, no.
record them.
That's because you
If
were
you
late,
look up
Tom.
in the upper right-hand corner, it says REC. That means recording.
Yep.
Well,
You-
well, you just notified me of that, so I'm pleading the fifth.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
All
against
that
the
stuff
law.
about me.
It's supposed to tell you you're being recorded before they do it, right? It's
They
against the
did,
law.
but he came on late.
That's
Tommy
right.
being late? No.
Yeah.
Write that down. That's a first.
Okay. How about, I'm gonna jump in from Mike. We had minutes for that last meeting, right? Did I read minutes?
Did you all get those minutes? Charlie?
No,
Yeah,
Never seen him.
I messed.
I don't have a minute.
No,
Okay.
never seen him, Brooke.
Okay. I couldn't remember
I
if I
think
had
that
seen.
was slander. I think that was slander by Charlie Simons, what he said about me fouling. As a matter of fact, if that's in public record, I want to
That's
have
all-
that please
It's
removed.
public record of your lack of defense.
Yeah,
Mhm.
please have that
Well known
removed
in the
from this
community.
tape.
Yeah.
Please have that removed from this recording.
Okay.
If you throw him the ball, it was like the black hole. It disappeared,
Yeah.
never to be
No, no, no.
returned.
Okay. I don't know. Just trying to keep us on track here.
Okay.
Where it is being taped.
Oh,
all. That's all. So I don't know what's next on the agenda,
Golf.
but the golf course.
And golf course report?
Yeah, I sent it to you guys the last 3 weeks, but everyone says they didn't get it. So
I didn't,
I'll put one together for the end of for the month of June. And next week I'll get it to you guys. Let you know
Okay,
what we're
thank
doing,
you.
how we're doing.
Hey, Charlie, the
pretty busy,
numbers are
Charlie?
good, aren't they?
The numbers have been great as far as daily golf.
Great.
Yeah.
It's it's still the same thing with revenue as far as one person per cart, things like that. But we are busy and we're doing
I
as
tell
well
you,
as we can.
the course is in great shape. I'll tell you.
Yeah, it is.
Anyone,
Great.
anyone look into the cart dividers?
We can't. We haven't got approval. Club Car can't sell them. They haven't
Okay.
They haven't got any approval from the governor.
Gotcha.
I guess he doesn't play golf then, does he?
No.
That's such an easy
No.
fix,
are you letting people go out that are not the same household in the same cart?
We don't. But once they get out to the first hole, if they jump on, they jump on. I mean, we can't. You hope we.
I haven't seen it.
I
Yeah,
haven't
'cause
either.
I
My
thought
tell you
they're
why.
I think they're being great out there.
I do too,
Right,
and I think
my course lets two people go out in the same cart,
because they're privately owned. They're not owned by the town.
but it's
All the
also,
courses are doing it.
it's supposed to be the same. The
Of
state
course it
has,
is.
right, it's supposed to be the same.
Absolutely.
don't
tell
have-
the governor that.
Well, no, the governor's the one who said that you can't have two
Of course.
non-household people in a
But
car.
the difference, Gina, is that they're privately owned and they can do what they want, and who's going to enforce it? The
Mhm.
cops aren't. The Board of Health does, and the Board of Health has nothing to do with it. They don't
How
want
can you
anything
be
to do
6
with it.
feet apart? How can you be 6 feet apart in a cart?
You can't.
Okay, if you want to do it, but I wouldn't.
No,
No, I can't. There's no way. I've already had this
I wouldn't.
discussion uptown, and there's no way they let me.
No, I wouldn't either. I don't think our course should do it either.
Well, I would if we had a divider.
Yeah,
I would
the
too.
dividers.
A divider, a piece of vinyl is $69. We were all set to buy them, got the okay, but they can't produce them because they haven't got the okay from the governor to allow it. So, because if you did that, you pay for each one in a day. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
Hey, Charlie, I got to tell you, under CDC regulations, and I'm just going off of buses, we can't be that close. We're still governed by that 6 feet. My motor
Yeah.
coaches, I can only put 14 people on them. So that's why I'm surprised hearing you say, oh,
No.
you can put a divider in the golf cart. It doesn't matter. They're not letting us even put dividers.
Kids in school are going to be 3 feet apart with a plastic divider.
Well, they're not going to get,
Well-
if they get sick, they're not going to die. The children aren't. It's not going to be like,
Well,
if
You
Tommy,
all know that.
they've had a few kids in Florida die already. One was 7 years old.
Yeah,
I think
but-
one was 9.
All
I
right,
think
so
there's
they
more
go
to the
home and their
story.
parents die. Is that what you're saying?
but it just,
That's good, all
I don't
right?
know. I have a whole different view than you.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can go on and on with
I
this.
just think that's right. That's right. Let's just move
Let's
move
just
on
get
because
on
I
and-
just don't agree.
But
Okay,
I'll get
when
you guys some information. I'm still waiting from the town, the finance director, to give me something that I can give you. But I'll get that out next week. But we have been busy. We've been busy on weekend every day. The weather's been great. Even in hot weather, it's busy. And I'll tell you, the pace of play is faster with one person per cart. Normally, with two people, it's probably 4.5 hours or so. This guy's been playing in 4 hours with a foursome with 4 carts, so there's
How
not a
much
lot
are
of
they
wasted
paying for the
time.
carts? Hey
What's
Charlie,
that?
how much are they paying for the? How much are they paying for the carts?
They pay
Full
$20
price?
a person.
it's
Per cart? And what do we normally get for a
Well,
cart?
you get 2 people, you get 40, so you double it.
So if it goes on long enough, you're actually, the wear and tear on the cart's a double, right? you'll
Yeah.
end up costing, you'll have to buy a cart sooner, so.
Well, the whole idea
What?
right now is 43 of the carts are on a lease. So in 3 years, they go away. The 14s that we have right now, they're supposed to come up in the fall. You know, we go out to bid in the fall and we order them for the spring, the other 43. So as far as the old days when we owned them and we tried to keep them going for 7 years, that's gone by the boards. We're going into a full lease now. So all of it, all the carts in 2 years will be on a 3-year lease. So every 3 years we get new carts. That's how it's operating now.
That's gonna take a lot of problems away, Charlie, huh?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think so, and that's the way the finance director wants to do it. So you build it into your budget, and every 3 years, you know, you stagger them. So it might be, you know, 2. Like this year would be 2. I think there's 2 years left on the car. This is the second year of the newer ones. So, you know, if we don't do it this year, then you have double the cost next year when you go. So I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do.
Hey, Charlie,
Yep.
can you eliminate the mechanic then if they're
No.
all leased?
No.
So you need
Mechanic.
how many
The mechanic doesn't work on the golf carts. He
Oh,
works
on
on
the
all the
equipment.
equipment.
Uh,
Yeah, and he works daily on them. So, you know, for 50 grand a year that we're paying him, he's well worth it.
Okay.
Absolutely
There's a
well
lot of
worth it.
equipment there to repair.
Yeah, and you know, and a lot of those are on a lease, and a lot of those go every 3 years. So you're saving maintenance costs on them, but you still got to maintain them daily. You still got to sharpen the blades. You know, you still got to do all that stuff. So, yeah, you can't lose him.
Did,
What about the
did you,
pickleball courts, Charlie?
What's that?
What's happening with the pickleball court?
The pickleball courts. I met with Mike Dutton yesterday down there, and I'm getting some more material to finish up there. And I'm going to cut some trees. You know, there's a big berm that goes along the lengthwise of the pickleball courts that backs up to that field by the school. And there's a lot of trees that are overhanging onto where the courts are going to go. So I went down and met with him yesterday, told him what I wanted to do. And I talked to Ronnie Ledoux down the highway, and I'm going to attack that whole area and get rid of all that stuff and get it ready. So hopefully we can get it paved by the fall.
Thank God we have a guy like Ronnie Ledoux that's, I'm sure he doesn't want to do it because he's busy enough, but he is a great guy to deal with.
Yeah, he is, and he's going
Yeah,
away.
he is.
February, he's retiring.
Ah,
Is he?
He's
good
had
guy
enough.
to,
And I'm quite sure they're probably going to do a, quote, nationwide search for that. That's what I've been told.
what was
Yeah,
that, Charlie? A
remember the guy they had?
nationwide?
Remember the guy they had a few years ago? He was
Oh,
supposed to
yeah.
be a nationwide search, and he was useless.
Yeah, Mr. Hurley. Yeah,
recorded.
that's okay. He would tell you
That's why
that.
they got rid of him. That's why they got rid of him.
Well, I think they still want to go to a DPW, but I don't know where that goes. This is going to be a tough year because of the COVID.
Yeah.
I think they had a lot of plans that have gone astray.
You don't know how the schools are going to go, and the budget, that eats up so much money.
Ay.
Mhm.
Also on the pickleball courts, you know, he wants to attach, you know, put some couple of bathrooms off the senior center. He'd like to put a little pavilion there. Mike Dutton has some ideas that he wants to do, and he wants to do it right. So,
Where does he get all the money?
well, he'll go to community preservation.
Oh, yeah, good.
I think that's the game plan down the line. When we go for fencing down there, he wants to incorporate some stuff in there. So,
Now, has anyone ever given any thought to putting a conduit in to have
Yeah.
lights?
yeah,
Oh, good.
at
Good.
least get the conduit in. That's another reason why I want to put them, you know, on that side by the berm. So if we can clear that all out and make that a nice area, at least you can run the conduit in back and you would have the lights facing the parking lot. So if they were needed at night for whatever reason, you know, it would show out. You know, it's not going to be like Little League field lights, but it would at least, you know, give you some lighting.
Bobby Sergio said he'd like to help. So I told him about the gravel. He said he was going to ask a few people to see if he could get you some
Well,
stuff. And I told him I'd give you a call.
Yep. In the spring,
That was
what
up to
happened
you.
was there was some material that Dyer saw out on East Street in the pit that kind of was there for years, and they kind of forgot about it. But it was so wet in the spring that
Yep.
Paul DeCosta from Highway got the machine stuck out there. So now's the time. So Ronnie told me he was going to bring as much as I need down there. And it's
Okay.
a small milling, so it should be good. So that's the game plan in the next couple of weeks, is to haul some of that material out and bring up there. And I told him the day he does it, just let me know, and I'll even if we get more than we need, you know,
Yeah.
you know, the thing
For
of
an
it is,
extra area.
we paid Dyer $2,500, and I spent about $1,000 in material, which is pretty damn cheap.
Yep.
But we'll have to probably regrade it. However, the company that paves it will have a finished grader there, so that's going to be part of the deal. Now, in the discussion I had with Oliari, with Sean Mayer, they're having some asphalt work done. The quote I got just for the area at the playground to pave was around $8,000. Now that seems like a lot, but it's, I don't know the exact measurements, but it's got to be at least 30 feet out from the cement slab, straight out, and then two wings on the sides for handicap vehicles. Now, I also, Sean Mayer, who I dealt with, informed me that, you know, if the guy put up a couple of signs, he probably would be able to donate some of it, if not all of it, if we put up a couple of signs saying this was donated by such and such. So the other thing Dutton said to me yesterday was, I'm able to go out if I went to TK, because they're going to be paving down at Oliari's place.
Yeah.
So he also
Who is that, Charlie?
I think it's TK.
Oh, TK.
Services. TK Asphalt Services that does his work. And he told me if I wanted to make a deal with him that he charged us the same as what the bid is for the town, I can do that. It's just like any state bid. If you're on the state bid list, let's say I want to buy a new Ford dump truck, it's $50,000. Well, let's say there's a Ford dealership down the street. If they want, they can sell me that for the same cost. They can't be more. That's what the state bid list, and most of the time they are more. But sometimes these guys will make a deal where he's in town, he's doing that. He might be able to do something over there.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, I don't know. But I'm also going to talk to the guy from Rochester, Bituminous, who has the bid. They did the Haywood Street Road, and Ronnie was happy with it, with the actual finished result. But they show up late. You know, it's a real cluster trying to get them there and make it work. But you know, it is what it is. But he's not recommending they take the bid next year, and he's documented a lot of stuff. But they do good work. It's just that, you know, they don't show up when they're supposed to the whole bit. You know.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably having you know, with the people laid off, they're probably having a hard time getting their guys back to work because everyone's getting $600 more to stay home.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep, yeah,
That's exactly what's happening.
it's awful.
Well, that's going away at the end of this month, isn't it?
No, they're gonna
Well,
they're
They
gonna
haven't
do it for another
decided.
2 months.
No, but they haven't decided. The Democrats and the Republicans are fighting it out. So nothing's been put, nothing's sealed, but it just stinks. The whole thing is awful.
Well, our deficit is gonna strangle us someday.
Yeah. Did you see the guy in Florida who took his $4 million and bought a Lamborghini?
No.
Yeah, they gave him money. He owned 3 or 4 moving companies. So he put in for paying people that weren't even working for him. And
I
he
did
went
see
out and
that,
bought
but
$390,000 Lamborghini.
Yeah, but he's under investigation, isn't he, Jim?
Well, they arrested him finally, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anything anything else, Charlie?
I just found out that they sent out a memo today that if any employee goes away to another state, that I have to quarantine and use my own vacation time to do that. So if I go away to Myrtle Beach, I was intending to go for 12 days. When I come back, I got to take another 10 days of vacation day to quarantine myself.
$500 a day if you get caught.
Correct. So I don't have a problem with it because I have a lot of time and I only go away once a year. So I'm not worried about it, but I don't know how that'll affect other people that go with me. You know, I suppose I could drive down there, but.
Well, even driving, there's signs on the road. If you come from another state driving, you still have to quarantine.
No, I know. I'm going anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When you going, Charlie?
I
October,
always
is it?
go the end of October.
Yeah, so you'll be all right.
And things might be changed by then too, Charlie.
What's
Yeah,
that,
might be.
Gina?
They might be
They may
changed
keep you
by
there.
then.
Well,
Yeah. I kind of got distracted by something else. The pickleball courts are
we already had
waiting
a
to be.
discussion on that, Gina. Now you're starting to sound like Tom.
No, it's
Whoa.
it's a
Oh,
long story.
Charlie.
Oh,
Please.
Hey, it's great. It's great to do this over the phone.
let's pick on Dan. He ain't here.
Yes, but just in a nutshell, that they'll be paved at some point soon,
Yeah.
maybe. Okay,
Yep. Hopefully by the fall.
okay, sounds good. I walked
Charlie,
around the grounds
Charlie.
Monday. Down
Charlie,
there.
on the pavement, will they just do the underpavement pavement this year and then do the final next year? Because doing the final over the winter, I don't know.
Well, that's a good question, Mike. I mean, they do the streets. They're doing a total reclamation and they're going to be paving, you know, a base, and usually they wait a month or so, but I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I mean, no, honestly, probably the best way is put a base on there and then come back in the spring.
Yeah, because if it's too close to winter, sometimes it doesn't adhere with the warm temperature. It makes they adhere better. That's what I
Yeah.
heard.
No, you're
Oh.
correct. mean,
I was-
that's pretty-
I
We
was
get down in
surprised.
August, it should be all right, though.
I would think
Yeah.
so.
I was
I wouldn't
surprised
paint it.
when I walked that area the other day with Emily Williams and Jean Garino, and I was surprised at how small I kept saying, this is like leveled off for 2 courts, and she said, yeah, they're a lot smaller than like a tennis court.
Right.
I've never seen
Yeah.
a pickleball court.
Yeah, well, this is right up Brooks Alley. We'll have to have a site visit when we're allowed. We can go down there and look at it. But yeah, I'm gonna go from one end to the other. I told Dutton that, and that'll allow us to have 6 courts, not 4. That's my
Okay.
goal.
Good.
To get 6, not 4.
All right.
That's good.
Yeah.
So that area that's already flattened off is for 4 courts?
Yeah, up by the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they're
there's
really,
a 2% pitch.
right,
it's
so
not-
they're really small courts.
Well, all you need is 70 feet wide for two courts side by side. 72
Okay.
feet, something like that.
Heck, I could even play that as long as I don't have to run a big court.
Yes, you could. So,
Mike, Mr. Campbell has his hand up.
That was an hour
Mr.
ago.
Flaherty?
that was getting
Yes,
a
sir.
drink.
Yes,
That was
ma'am.
That was
that
an
was
hour
for
ago.
Laura to bring him a drink.
There you go.
Can she bring me a drink too? I left my water in the
Yeah.
house.
When you tear the dam down, Mike, I want it to be named Condon Brook, all right?
Brooke Condon, Brooke.
There you go.
Mhm.
And to vote? No,
That-
just kidding.
That's not me. I'm not ripping that out there, Jimmy. That's
I know,
the state.
You just pay him for it. I'm only kidding. I know what you
I'm
told me.
volunteering. I'm volunteering some money here.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Mike, hey, Mike, does that just turn into does it turn into like a small brook? I'm thinking once
Yes.
once that dam is good. Now, do they bring in all the fill to level it off?
I don't know, Tom.
They'll be clamming at the Lincoln. They'll be out in the mud flats clamming.
Yeah, that's about it. Isn't it going to
No,
like,
it's not good.
If you look at the Cotton Carver Gym brook now, there were 2 dams in
Yeah.
there, and they're removed, and it's just a small brook going through there, and the fish supposedly migrate up and spawn, and it works like it did 200 years ago.
well,
That's what everyone says.
the Lincoln Club
Yeah.
will have more room for bocce courts.
Yeah.
Correct. They won't have much room for canoes.
No, there won't be any canoeing.
No.
Yep.
All right. Do we have anything else to talk about?
Charlie,
I'm hungry. I haven't eaten.
Charlie,
Go ahead, Gina.
when you mentioned that you don't go on Facebook and you know that record's always getting reamed, the town put something on the other day on Bridgewater residents, and they addressed the Marathon Park and about the equipment needed repair and the company being out of business, and they're working on it. So hopefully that takes a lot of the complaining of the residents off of the Facebook.
I doubt it.
Well, me too, but I said hopefully, Jimmy. There's a
Yeah,
hopefully in
They
there.
don't bother reading. Whatever they think is right is right. That's about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I
ain't gonna matter.
got an email, so
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him about it, told him all about it, and
Yep.
after I met. But you're talking 75, 80 grand. So one of the things I wanted to mention to you, and I'm glad you said that, because Claremont Companies has been in touch with me, basically talking about some donation.
Is that the company across from the NIP?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Is that the company across from the NIP?
Yes.
They were going to donate to recreation when they built their first building.
His
Yeah.
name is Connie. His
Yeah.
name is Connie. I can't remember his
Yeah.
first name. Bill?
Yeah.
Connie?
Pat, ain't it? Pat?
I don't know. I've talked to this guy
Pat,
named
you're right.
Owen, but he got my name, from Bridgewater Cares. So I kind of talked to him about it at length, and they're looking to make, a pretty good donation, and they give to the food banks, they give to different stuff. But I tried to talk them in towards recreation. Told them that we're doing pickleball courts. We're going to have to repair the playground, and I had couple other people that mentioned to me that they would donate towards it, and I'm quite sure Oliari will donate towards it. But I tried to impress upon the town that it's time we get some money into the program here. And
A sailing club on the NIP, finally,
yeah, well, that ain't happening, Jimmy.
with all Claremont signs on the seals. I could see it now.
It would be, and the people could watch
I don't
it out
think it's
the
deep
window at the restaurant.
Yeah, like they have on Jamaica Pond in South Boston. And
I know. But anyway, that's basically. So I'm going to have future conversations with them, and
that's good.
yeah, the guy, they seem to be up front. The guy wants me to meet him, and they were concerned that Bridgewater Cares was not a full 501(c) organization, and I told them that basically is because we don't bring in that kind of money that you need to be a 501(c), but that we are a non-charitable, we file and all that kind of stuff. So it's the same thing. They want to make sure that if they're going to put some money in. So You know, and I told them the situation, how it works with the town, that if they make a donation to the town, it has to go to the town manager. They can make it with a, say they want to put it towards something, they can state that, but it has to be accepted by the town manager. And
Then give it to
town
the
council.
Lions. Then give it to the Lions Club, and then we can do whatever you want to do with it. We're a 503c.
So, to the town.
We can
per se,
do. We can give it to
any
the town.
donation that comes to the town is supposed.
Charlie, you
We
froze.
lo-
He drove
No,
off.
he's gone. He drove. He drove off to the.
There
He
he
was
is.
in his car.
Okay,
He's
you're
going to
back.
pick up the
You
donation.
froze.
He's going
When
to
he
pick up
turned
the
the
donation.
car
donation.
on,
I bet that's it. He turned his car on. and it
motion
knocked
to
out his-
adjourn.
Second.
Motion. All in
I can
favor?
log into that.
Do we get
Aye.
Charlie back to hear
Aye.
about? Hey, Charlie?
I can't
I
hear
still
you.
here?
I can't.
Yeah,
Okay,
Charlie,
now
you were
he's
saying,
back.
Charlie, you said any donation to the town and then you froze, so we didn't hear what you said.
Can you hear me again now?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I'm on
afraid-
internet, so I drove away from the building, that's why. So I pulled in back in. So what happens is when someone makes a donation to the town, it has to be accepted by the town council before it even gets deposited. So I explained that to him. So I explained a bunch of things to him. So I'm gonna have more meetings with him, probably meet the people up there or whatever, and you know, we'll see what kind of money they're talking.
I have two quick questions. One is, who organizes, who is the administrator of Bridgewater Cares?
Timmy O'Leary is the president. His wife's the secretary. I think I'm vice president. So
Hello?
I administer. There's several different funding.
Okay,
Operation Santa. You have the women that do all the shopping. Bren Ladino and Ursula Garfield,
okay,
and she handles Operation Santa. Anything
Okay.
for energy assistance, I get letters from Kathy Hayes, who's the outreach worker at the senior center. She sends me email when people need money or need electric bill paid and all that kind of stuff.
okay,
So
Mike,
I'm the middleman. She sends me the information. I go to the bank, get a check, and mail it out.
okay, thank you. My other question, what was the donation recently that the town council referred it to their people, to their subcommittee, their finance committee to accept, but they said it was a donation to recreation?
Yeah, it was this is what happened. I get very little donations over the years, and I basically forgot how it works. We got a $500 check in the mail. It was a money order from a lady with no address on the envelope, no return address, and she donated $500 to be put towards maintenance of the parks. So I deposited into a revolving account, but Lori in accounting caught it and said, "You can't do that." So it had to go to town council for approval.
Okay,
So I totally forgot, because I haven't had a donation made payable to us in a long time. And I just basically forgot that that's how it works.
okay, good, thank you.
I was slapped around a little bit, although gently. And so now I'll do it correctly from now on.
Okay, it's
So-
not like,
When Mike donates $1 million to us, I'll make sure he gets, something named after him.
If you guys get slapped around, we'll all donate, Charlie.
yeah,
Oh, boy. All right.
okay.
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Brooke,
I
do we
do.
have anything else
Adjourn.
on the agenda?
No.
Okay. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Michael, all in
Guys,
all
It
in
was-
favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Aye.
Okay.
okay.
Good night.
It was nice seeing all you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gina, you
Good
better
night.
get
Virtually.
inside before you get bit by mosquitoes.
I know, did you see me swatting at them?
Yeah. All
Hey,
right. See ya.
go-
Thank you, Brooke.
Okay,
Good
Thanks.
night. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Brooke.
Okay, bye. I'm heading
Bye.
in.
See ya.
Okay, see ya.
Hey, Brooke, hang me up.
I got in trouble for hanging people up. Hang up. I'm gonna hang you up.
Good. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Jim, I'm lowering your hand. Okay.